was 5 o'clock in the morning, and I had taken the pregnancy test by myself while he was still sleeping. So I wrote a letter to him, saying, I know that we had things planned, but sometimes things don't always go as we plan, and you're gonna be a papa.
Whoa, I knew we wanted to have kids, and a little sooner than expected, but just very excited.
And then he made me take a second pregnancy test just to make sure. I remember the ultrasound when we found out that it was gonna be a boy, and he started crying. I was like, what?
I was really excited.
He was really excited.
All right, it's gonna be great, get to do all that guy stuff with my new son.
I would never say, I just need a happy, healthy boy. I just say, just bring me a healthy boy. We'll make him happy.
It just seemed like things were going the way they should have gone.
He's like, one more push and you're done. And out came baby Carter.
And as a new father, all you think about is 10 fingers and 10 toes. I was actually looking for it, Okay, good, there's 2 feet, 2 arms, 1 head.
Sorry. He didn't cry right away. He didn't make a sound right away. And I remember just looking down like, oh, that's my baby. And I didn't cry right away. Nobody said anything, but they whisked him away to the little incubator in our room. And I could see the nurses, kind of going back and forth and just like turning and talking to each other.
Just seeing them pick up his arms and then letting go of his arms, and they would keep falling down and stuff, telling sign there that something wasn't right.
And I was just so scared to ask what was wrong because I knew they were going to tell me that something was wrong, but I didn't want to hear it. I go, what's going on over there? She sat down in her little cushion chair and like this, I can still hear the squeak of the wheels. She wheeled over the side of our bed and said, your son has Down syndrome. I said, excuse me? I'm like, I'm 29, I just turned 29. I'm like, this isn't possible. It's not possible. And so she goes, I take it you didn't know? And we had no idea. And then they brought Carter over to me. And I remember just looking at him. I had to tell myself that he was perfect. I was scared. I was scared I wasn't gonna love him. I was scared that I didn't know what to do with him. I was
just shock for me. Just like, what do you mean?
It's like you had a baby, but it's like you lost a baby at the same time. You ask yourself what you did wrong. I remember hearing the door crack open. It was my mom and my dad behind her. And I just remember seeing her pop her head in, and all I said was, he has Down syndrome. And I just shouted it. And I'll never forget the look on her face. And I remember her looking at me and wanting to make it all better, but she couldn't. And I thought about like, when we were gonna take him places and when we were gonna go to meet people, do I say, this is my son? This is my son Carter, he has Down syndrome. Like, I didn't know how I was gonna introduce him, or do I not tell people?
I kept thinking, okay, if his heart's healthy, maybe the Down syndrome isn't that bad. I guess almost thinking in denial a little bit that he even had it, Down syndrome still. Yeah, at first it was hard. A lot of crying and just, we didn't know anything. I think at one point they gave us a packet of, here, to go on the internet and you can find out about Down syndrome and stuff like that. And it was just kind of like, man, this is not helping. Is there anybody that can come in here and like, give us some answers and some information? And in the beginning, it didn't feel like there was that.
We took him in the pediatrician's office and he said Carter will probably be having to receive physical therapy and speech therapy and whatnot. So we wanted to be proactive and giving Carter everything that we could to make sure that he is successful in all aspects of his life. And so we're like, as young as he can start, let's do it. that it felt like we were walking into a place where we belonged. You accepted us and you were there for us. I felt okay for the first time, knowing that I've come somewhere and I'm going to do something to help my child.
And then when they came to our house the very first time, almost immediately, it was just like, this feels right. This is gonna help. These people know what they're doing. They know what they're talking about.
One of the therapists said to me, he's your baby, and just treat him like your baby. And I just, it just felt like they knew what I was going through and they could feel my pain, but they understood and they wanted to help.
This is another good way to encourage the midline position.
So initially, we had started with physical therapy. And then as Carter got a little bit older, we added in speech therapy.
Good job. Can you say please? Good job.
It's not just talking, and it's not just, physically moving your body. It's the way you move your body. It's how you eat, it's how you sit, there's so much more involved in all the different therapies.
The therapist really encouraged us to use sign language because children with Down syndrome, they develop speech slower. So the therapist really worked with Carter, and that's been awesome.
And then we had added in swim therapy as well, and which he has turned out to absolutely love. Eventually we signed Carter up for a play group. It was going to be a class to kind of help him prepare for preschool. And that was nice to come where you felt like everybody was accepted. Those first couple weeks I kept going, gosh, I hope they don't call Carter today. I hope he's not the helper today, because I was so nervous about him being the helper. And then by the last couple of weeks, I'm like, when's it gonna be Carter's turn to be the helper? Can we get Carter up here already? And it was his last session, and I was so excited because I saw his name on the helper list, and I was like, that's my boy, he gets to be the helper today. And he came up there and he ran the show like he'd been doing it for years. I was like, you go, boy. I'm so proud. I remember just getting teary-eyed.
Here, buddy.
It's almost like having a coach, just making sure that you're doing everything that you can.
It really is comforting to know that there are people that care about you and will care and do the best job that they can. It's encouraging to know that children's therapy is going to be there with us to support us through Carter, through all his needs for years and years to come.
Ready, set, go. Go!
I always felt like we have a team. It's not just one-on-one. There's a team supporting us in all areas. Knowing what we know now, that Carter was going to turn out to be the most wonderful, beautiful thing that we'd never created.
He's really awesome. And just to see him develop some of his own individuality has just it's been so neat to see that growth. He's his own man, he's gonna do what he wants to do. He's confident, and we're gonna let him go.